planning and finding a healthy balance. And I hope you all will have a wonderful time here, and let's get started now. So a little notice before we start, I would like you guys to turn on your camera for a better interaction with the guest speaker. And please change your background here so that we will have a consistent and beautiful event space. And if you haven't got the background yet, you can find it in the chat box. We have sent it. And the link to the feedback form has also been inserted in the chat box, so don't forget to check it. And now, shall we begin? As you guys may have heard a little bit about the topic of our workshop today, and which is to help you to organize to your school, your future job, and even that your personal life, and also help you to build your career roadmap. So moving on to the most exciting part that you have all been waiting for the whole time. Well, as you can see, I'm not like the main power of our today's workshop. And I believe that we are all curious about who is the special guest speaker. And so without further ado, let me introduce you to our wonderful woman that we have right there, Ms. Iman Abu Mahmood, the Careers Education Consultant.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome.
How are you, Ms. Iman?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm very happy to be here. Very happy to be back with all of our wonderful students and share some knowledge and insights into today's topic. Thanks for having me.
Oh my God, it's great to hearing that. I believe that they are also curious about all of us today are curious about you ever since we introduced the workshop. So could you introduce to us a few highlights of yourself and as well as the agenda we are going to discuss today?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, my name is Iman. I am one of the career education consultants based in Sydney, and I work at Western Sydney University. And yeah, we're always in collaboration with lots of different students, both undergraduate, postgraduate, all over the place from all parts of the world, and very happy to be part of this whole careers initiative with the Vietnamese campus and supporting each of your career trajectories. So yeah, today's topic is going to very much look at how you can start planning for your career, how you can find a very healthy and stable balance in your life with study, with work, with the social life and everything else, and basically how you can set yourself up for some future success.
Oh my God, thank you so much for your sharing. So okay, let's start our session of today. So first, know yourself. So Ms. Iman, can you tell me a little bit about what knowing ourselves means? Is that about the values, the interests, or the goals?
Yeah, so knowing yourself is going to capture a whole range of different things, which we're going to dive into in some greater detail in just a moment. But maybe just before we get to that, I did want to very briefly recap on the 3 previous sessions that we have held. So as you all know, this is part of a lovely series that we've got planned for you. We're going to cover pretty much every topic that you will need to find those successful careers and outcomes at the end of your respective journeys. So far we've covered Kickstart Your Career, followed by Knowing Yourself. We did lots and lots of exploration of who we are, what makes us unique. We looked at different personality quizzes and types and traits and everything else. And then we moved into starting to understand our respective industries as well. We touched on the 4 different R's that I gave you all as well. So the importance of research, the importance of reviewing, your goals, where you're heading, the things that you're doing, redesigning, trying to find where your place is going to be, and then reigniting that passion as well. So please go back to those recordings if you missed them so that you can access all of that information as well. And just as we move into that topic that you made around knowing yourself, today we're going to be covering a range of different things. So we are going to very briefly start with knowing yourself because it's very important with today's topic. And then we'll move into knowing what matters before we look at the importance of being able to manage expectations. And when we talk about expectations, it's not just managing our expectations, but knowing how to manage the expectations of those around us, you know, all of those different people that influence our lives and the decisions that we make. We'll also then move into looking at the different types of organizational skills and how we need to start developing these skills, which are going to set us up for future success in every part of life. Before we look at things that overwhelm us, what are some of our pain points? What are some of our triggers? You know, what are some of the things that can cause an imbalance in our lives? You know, how to identify them, how to manage them when they occur and work through them and persevere. We'll also touch on peer pressure, something that lots of you may have already encountered at some point in your life or could potentially encounter at some point moving forward as well, and discuss different ways that we can better manage that situation. We'll talk about managing stress. It's something that's really, really important. It doesn't just impact our studies, it can impact our relationships and so many avenues of life as well. Then I'll tell you how you can actually go about finding that really healthy balance. We'll look at the importance of scheduling and prioritizing and embedding a whole range of different activities that you enjoy before we move into career exploration and taking some time to start doing some career mapping nice and early as well. So with regards to knowing yourself, as we discovered in that first or second, I think yeah, it was the second workshop that we did, there are a few key ways that I wanted you to start to better understand yourself, understand who you are and what it is that makes you you. So what's your authenticity? And this is where I want you to think about your values. Everybody can have some values that are aligned with each other, but then we also have some unique values, some different morals, some different beliefs perhaps, you know, and we all have different things that make us happy and different things that we value that are really, really important to us and give us purpose in life. So I want you to think about these things as we go along today and realign that to everything that we talk about as well. Also thinking about your interests. You know, what is it that you're interested in? What is it that you really want to do? Not what mum wants you to do, not what dad wants you to be, not what your friend is pressuring you into doing. You know, what is it that you think you have the skill set, you have the passion and that drive to pursue and to thrive in and to make a difference in your life. Then think about your skills and your strengths. You know, some of your friends might be really, really tech savvy. They might be amazing, you know, anything on the computer, any device, you put it in front of them, they're a whiz, they figure it out. They're really good in that particular area because that's a strength of theirs. It's a skill set. Some of your other friends might be really creative. You know, you might be an awesome writer. You could produce content and make something out of nothing and you share amazing stories. We all have different strengths, but we need to take the time to find out what they are and to build on them and nurture them so that we can succeed in different ways. And then our motivators, we talked about our motivators last time as well, because these are part of what shapes us into who we are. Right? Everybody is influenced by others. Some people look up to and admire, you know, people that are really successful or really famous, you know, and they idolize them and they want to be like them, you know, when they grow up. Other people take inspiration from people that are much closer to home, you know, a grandparent, a father figure, you know, someone who has been an integral part of their life that really inspires them to do better and be better and to succeed and to thrive. So I want you to think about who is it that's motivating you? Who is it support moving forward? And then we're going to now move beyond that whole knowing yourself. So that's still going to be in the back of our minds and it's going to guide us today as well. But I want you to now think about knowing what matters. Okay, so if we look at this example of this little goldfish here, jumping out of his tiny little home, his little safe space, his comfort zone, you know, he's focusing on the bigger picture. It's so important that we do that in each of our respective journeys. We're all in different places and different points in our journeys and in our lives. And it's important to know where we're heading. It's important to know what we want to do, what we want to achieve, what we want to accomplish, so that we have that sense of direction, so that we have that sense of purpose, and so that we don't sweat the small stuff. You know, the little things that happen along the way, we disregard, we move past them, we persevere because we're focused on that bigger goal. Right? So we want to be like that goldfish and not be afraid to take that leap of faith. And I also want you to think of it from this particular diagram's perspective as well. So think about things that matter, things you can control, and then what you should focus on. Okay, so this little bit of area here that overlaps, that's where we want to focus our attention. Okay, because there are some things that we can control, some things that we can't control. There are things that are important, and then what we focus on is going to be our priority moving forward. I don't just want you to think about what matters here. I also want you to start thinking about why. You know, if accomplishing a particular career is important to you, I want you to be honest with yourself and say, why? Why do I want to be a teacher? Why do I want to be an engineer? Why do I want to start my own business? Is it really because I want to do that? Or is it because of those pressures and influences? And I want you to be very authentic and honest with yourself. So for the first activity, I'm just going to pop the link into the chat as we pop up over here. So if everyone can please open their chat and click on this link, you will be able to input your responses. It's all anonymous, but I want you to just start listing some things that matter to you. You know, what is it that drives you? What is it that has got your focus? What are you trying to achieve? Just very, very briefly. You know, some people, to them, family is everything. You know, success is everything, or maybe money could be, you know, an important factor. I want you to be honest and share what is it that matters to you. And then as your responses come through, everybody will be able to see them on this screen. And you can put more than one answer in. So we've got, yep, family, money, joy, good. Your happiness is really important. I don't want you ever to compromise your happiness for anyone or anything. Kindness, absolutely. Validation, good. Some people need to feel validated and appreciated. Achievement, good. The skills, happiness, yeah, very important. Family, kindness, yes, the world needs lots and lots of kindness. Holidays is important to some, yeah, that's important, right? That's about the balance as well. It can't just all be work, work, work and study, study, study. We need to have time, you know, to go and venture out and see the beauty that exists in the world. A job, getting a job is important. High score, you know, so good grades, success is important. Career success, fantastic. Clubs, your mum, excellent. Positive friendships, having a high status. Some people want to be respected. They want to be leaders. They want to be CEOs. Love, nice. Health, that's an important one. Without health, we can't achieve any of the other things. So it's a very, very high priority. It definitely matters. Food. I like that one. Someone's hungry, but food does matter as well. Freedom, calmness. Some great responses, guys. Well done. Scholarship, yeah. So some people want to find those avenues to get to their end goals. Milk tea. Excellent. Well done. Thank you for your contributions. Let's just pop back over to the slides. Okay, so knowing yourself is really important. Then knowing what matters to you is really, really important. And you want to align that wherever possible back to knowing yourself. So think about your goals, your vision, your motivators, and all of those different things as we go along, and make sure that everything is making sense and going together like a piece of the puzzle. Now we move into managing expectations. This is really, really important with regards to everything that you do, and particularly to finding that career balance and that healthy balance in life. It's not just about managing your own expectations. That's the first aspect, and it's really, really important to manage yourself and your expectations and how hard you are on yourself. But then the second part comprises of managing other people's expectations of you. So whether that's your boss at work, whether it's your parents at home, you know, whether it's your friends, you know, and we're talking about that peer pressure and things later on, you need to be able to be brave enough to manage all of those expectations so that they don't have a negative impact on you on the decisions that you make, and on the way that you feel each and every day. In order to do that, what you want to do initially is to start to set some very clear priorities. Let people know what it is that you want to do. Share your career conversations. Tell people where you're planning on heading, what goals you're setting for yourself, right? So that they're aware of it and you're aware of it, and then they can start to appreciate the story that you're starting to write for yourself as the author of your own life. Then the second part, you need to make sure that you build on those conversations, communicate your expectations, communicate everything in general. If someone is overstepping, or if they're making you feel very pressured, they're trying to tell you what to do, they're trying to dictate or make decisions for you, it's important that you put a stop to that, that you communicate how that's making you feel, that you talk about it and you find ways to resolve that issue so that it doesn't continue to negative impact you, right? Or cause any friction between you and the other person. And so that it can be a positive thing that comes of it, not something negative. Be prepared to negotiate. So, sometimes someone wants you to, I don't know, it might be a parent who's insisting that they want you to, to open up your own business, but they have a particular business in mind, but you have no interest in, continuing the family business and just doing what they wanted you to do, okay, just to continue what's been the norm and things like that. So perhaps you start to negotiate, you start to show them and some of your passion, but you also come up with some interesting ideas and you tell them, look, I like the idea of a business, but I'd love to start, spreading my own wings and trying new things. And I have this different business idea, that one, the existing one that the family has done really well in, it doesn't sit well with me. I'm not passionate about it. I don't love it. I don't have the skill set for it, but I'm really, really excited about this particular business. I'd love for you to hear about it. And I'd love for you to try to support me in this particular space. So trying to use some of that reasoning and some of that negotiation in that kind of example. Setting boundaries is another really important one with regards to managing people's expectations. This is where, sometimes you might be doing a casual job, part-time job, and someone sees that you're very, very capable, you're a really good worker, so they're always asking you to do more and more and more and more, and they start to take advantage, and you feel like you can't keep up, you're quietly drowning, right? So this is where you have to understand that it is okay to say no. It's okay to say, I can't do this now, or I can't do it right this minute. I'm going to need some more time to get back to this, or to be able to do this to the degree that you want me to be able to do it as well. So really being able to set those clear boundaries and push back and say no is okay, and it is important for our mental health as well. You also want to be able to prepare for or anticipate problems when we're talking about managing expectations. So think about, some of those arguments that your parents might have for you, or that your partner or sibling or friends or anyone could potentially propose. And then think about how you can manage that situation, even if you have to role play it with yourself, and talk it through with yourself so that you're able to be prepared for that encounter. Another really good thing is to never assume anything. Don't assume that people want a particular thing or expect a particular thing from you. Again, going back to that communication, making sure that the communication is really clear so that no assumptions are made and so that everybody is on the same page. I love living by this one here. Always try to under-promise and over-deliver. Okay, so whether this is with regards to your studies, whether it's regards to a particular job, don't go and promise the world straight away just because you know that you're competent or because you're very eager, okay? Take a step back and think, all right, what is it that they actually need me to be able to do? I'm going to make sure that I do that, okay? But even though, like, deep down, I know that I'm going to do more, I don't have to tell them that right now, okay? If you over deliver, people get even more impressed. They're so impressed by you. Maybe your parents had a conversation, for example, and they're asking how your study's going. And you're saying to them, oh, look, I'm hoping to get a B average or a C average or a credit or a distinction, and then next minute you get that high distinction. You knew you were going to get the high distinction. You knew you were going to get the A's, but you didn't tell them that. You didn't set them up for that straight away, just in case something didn't go according to plan. So you under promise, but you over deliver. Same sort of thing at work. You tell them, yes, I can meet these expectations. I can do what's required of me. And then you do that little bit extra. Then the promotions can come, referrals can come, other opportunities come, because you are succeeding and you're being very, very strategic. And you're not stressing yourself. You're not promising the world and then saying, what was I thinking? Why did I promise that? Why did I do that? Now I have to figure out how I'm going to manage work and this and study and social life and whatever. And that's how we become unnecessarily stressed. Don't be too hard on yourself as well. Don't criticize yourself. I know I do this sometimes, so I'm going to be honest and say, you know, I'm very guilty of this. Every time I do anything, I always think, oh, I could have done this better. I could have done that better. But that's because I naturally have high expectations. And I have to remind myself from time to time not to be too critical and not to be too harsh on myself, you know, because I know that I am my biggest critic. Right. So it's a good thing because it continuously encourages you to lift the bar and be better and do better, but you don't want to overdo it so that you feel so inundated and feel so much pressure and feel extra exhausted trying to meet those expectations that you've set. Embrace change, adapt and be flexible. If COVID has taught us anything, it's this. Right? All of us can adapt. All of us can do things in a different way at different times. So sometimes, again, it's about that negotiation. You know, you might not like the new way of working or the new way of studying, you know, or returning to the classroom. Maybe you're enjoying the hybrid study, or you're enjoying studying online, for example. But you have to be willing to adapt, and you have to show that you are flexible, because these are the sorts of people that succeed in life. So wherever possible, think, okay, how can I show that I'm taking a bit of initiative and that I'm making some contributions to at least meet people halfway? Okay, I can't just be expecting everything myself. I have to give just like I have to take. So it's got to work both ways. And always try to be very, very realistic as well. So remember with this picture here, it's fine to say no. We don't need to always say yes to everyone for everything. So remember that you can push back and only promise what you can deliver, but then deliver what you deliver more than what you can promise. Okay, that's really, really important. And remember with these pictures here, I didn't put these pictures here just for the sake of it. I put them here with intent, because this is another thing that we have to understand. We all have these visions, these fairy tale ideas even, that, you know, I'm just going to be a CEO, I'm going to be a leader, I'm going to be a manager. And we think that life is just going to be that easy. I'm here, I have a goal, and I'm going to go straight to the finish line, and I'm going to get exactly what I want. Sometimes that might happen for the very lucky few, the lucky minority, but for the majority, this is the reality. You get those goals, you'll be going uphill, you'll fall down, you'll have obstacles, you'll have so many hardships along the way. There'll be times where you feel like you can't do this, times where you don't know where you're heading, you know, times when you feel like you're drowning, but you can still get there, right? So just again, manage those expectations and realize things aren't always easy, things aren't always black and white, but the most successful people in the world are the ones who don't give up. They persevere, they continue. You know, J.K. Rowling is a fantastic example. She was knocked back repeatedly by so many different authors, by so many different publications and companies and everyone. No one was interested in her stories. No one was interested in Harry Potter. Did she give up? No, she continued and she continued and she continued. And then look at how much money she made. Everybody wanted a piece of Harry Potter. There's merchandise, there's movies, there's books, there's even theatre performances. So again, look at those different examples and read up on any sort of, you know, inspirational person that you look up to in whatever way. And you'll see that so many of them have encountered failure many, many times before they got to that success. So you have to be prepared and manage your expectations and manage the expectations of others so that you too can find your own success. Then the next part here, I thought we could start looking at and talking about our organizational skills. Now, in every aspect of your life, this is going to be really important. And we're going to talk about things like this in greater detail later when we're trying to develop our hard skills and our soft skills and trying to find amazing ways that we can put them into things like our resumes, our LinkedIn profiles, cover letters, job applications, interview responses, and so on. So I will support you with all of that later on. But what I wanted you to understand from today is how important your organizational skills are with regards to finding that healthy balance and being able to take initiative with all aspects of your life, including your career. So first and foremost, we want to be able to strategically plan, not just plan, but strategically plan. What am I going to do first? When am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? Who am I going to do it with? Right? And then always holding yourself to account, keeping yourself in check, making sure that you're ticking off different things from that plan. We don't just put a plan and then forget about it and not revisit it, not look at it again. We need to keep it in check, and we need to keep adding to it and refining it as we develop new goals and new plans for ourselves moving forward. Preparation, like for anything in life, is key, right? You never go into an exam without having studied. Okay, because you know that the outcome is generally going to be fail, right? You're going to fail miserably if you have done zero preparation. Same sort of thing. If you go into an interview for a job and you've done zero preparation, chances are you're not really going to stand out and you're not going to get that job offer either. So it's the same sort of thing with regards to establishing that healthy balance. You need to prepare it. You need to take the time to schedule, and we're going to start doing some of that today so that we can prepare ourselves to find that healthy balance and to succeed and to do the right amount of different things, you know, to be happy in all aspects of our life. So that's where the scheduling comes in. Prioritization, you know, prioritizing is really, really important. You know, you can't do everything all at once. There's no way. You know, I live a very, very busy life. I support, you know, thousands of students all the time. I support many professionals and do lots of other things outside of work and everything as well. So I also need to prioritize. I need to figure out, okay, what can I actually do? Who can I help today? How can I help? In what capacity? Right? Because we're not Superwoman or Superman or anything like that. We have to have a system in place so that we can tick things off in a very strategic sort of way and know what needs to be done first and then what can wait to perhaps next week or a couple of days from now or next month and so on. This is a really important one for you guys. Most of you are studying at the moment, and that's to avoid procrastinating. You know, I know students here in Australia do this all the time as well. Everyone thinks, oh, I've got, you know, a month, I've got 2 months until that assignment is due. You know, the exams aren't for another 3 weeks or whatever it is. And you get busy with life and whatever else. And we put things off and we put things off again and again. And then what happens before you know it, 3 weeks have passed, a couple of months have passed. It's the night before or the day of, you know, that deadline. And then suddenly you're frustrated, you're probably fighting with everyone in your household, you know, and feeling very grumpy and anxious and everything too, because you've put yourself in such a difficult situation and you're desperately trying to meet a particular deadline. And that could have been avoided entirely if we didn't procrastinate, if we learned to schedule, if we learned to prioritize, if we learned to set goals, achievable goals, that's small intervals. That's a big one for you guys. No one's going to procrastinate, right? I see heads nodding. Yeah, good. No procrastinating. Utilize technology is another really good one. I mean, you guys are blessed. You're so lucky. I remember when we were growing up, you know, back in the day, you know, I'm sounding really old at the moment, but when we were growing up, we didn't have the luxury of all of these apps that we could download. We didn't have, like, even when we eventually had mobile phones and whatever, they had like one game on there and there were no apps or things that you could download. It was very different time, right? You have an abundance. You have like an ocean of opportunities and things to choose from. So what I'm saying here is to try to utilize them to support you to find that balance. There are so many apps that you can download to help you to get organized, to help you manage your time, to help you keep track of deadlines, important, you know, things that are coming up, events and things that you want to, you know, upskill through or whatever it might be, right? So wherever possible, utilize technology. It's a very, very positive thing that can support your career and your life in so many ways. Communication goes with organization and every other kind of skill. And it's the reason why so many people get jobs and find success, is because they're able to communicate effectively with a whole range of different individuals. And that's no different here. You know, you want that healthy balance, you want to find career success, you want to find all of those different things, you need to start communicating effectively. And communicating when things are going according to plan, right? We also have to learn how to communicate when we feel like we're drowning, when we feel like we're alone, when we feel like, you know, we're overwhelmed, when we feel like we're stressed or that we're not coping. There are so many services, there are so many people that care. And I'm not just talking about family and friends. There are professionals, right? There are colleagues, there are academics, there are so many people that you would have access to that would be there, that would be happy to support you. So please don't ever feel like you're alone in this whole situation. Collaborate, you know, lean on those teams, talk things through, find solutions together. You know, people who can collaborate and can demonstrate amazing collaboration skills, again, go very far in their careers, you know, because every business, every organization wants these kinds of individuals that are very much team players that can work effectively with others, not just independently on their own. Delegation is really important, and that will help build some of the leadership skills in you. You know, so when you do feel like, you know, things are out of line, you know, there's an unhealthy sort of balance happening, learn to delegate. You know, if you're doing a group task at uni or in your studies in college, or whatever it might be, and you've all been given different tasks, maybe you've been given a couple of extra ones, you thought that you could manage them, you know, think ahead, plan ahead. And if you realize, okay, hang on, you know, I don't think I'm going to realistically be able to give all of these things my full attention and time, right? Talk to people, collaborate, work through them and delegate. If someone else can do that, have that conversation with them and delegate. Be okay with giving someone else opportunities to do different things, so that not everything comes back to you and is, you know, putting extra weight and pressure on your shoulders. And then make decisions. Decision making is so important. Know what to do, when to do it, how to do it, who to do it with, so that all of these different things can support your different aspects. Alrighty, so now let's do another activity. This time, what I want you all to think about is what overwhelms you. We all get stressed, frustrated, anxious at different times of the day because of different things that happen. So I want you to think, you know, what are some of those triggers for you? Not for your friend, not for your parent, not for your, you know, partner or whoever, for yourself. What is it that you have started to notice overwhelms you? What are some of those triggers? And if you haven't really identified them yet, if they're not immediately coming to you, then after today's session, I want you to start being more in tune with yourself and start noticing when you do get frustrated, when you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling stressed. I want you to ask yourself why. What caused this? What led to this? You know, it could have been a few different things, and then suddenly you feel like that was it, icing on the cake, I'm ready to lose it now, right? But it always starts somewhere. And I want you to be on top of this and be able to track what those triggers are, so that we can keep our mental health in check. So I'm going to ask everyone again to please open up their chat, and I'm going to pop this link into the chat this time. Again, this activity is anonymous, so please just click on the link and then double click anywhere on the screen. If you want to put your name there, that's fantastic. It's up to you. If you don't want to, there's absolutely no need. But I want you to just type some of the things that trigger you, that overwhelm you. You know, and this will be different for different people. You know, some people might have a particular situation, perhaps for whatever reason, they have to do a lot of work to get some income to support their family while studying, right? Because, you know, a parent or someone might be sick or something like that. So the financial burden could be something that's overwhelming you. For someone else, you know, just the study load could be overwhelming you. Perhaps you're not used to this much study. You know, some other people, it could be, you know, the pressure, the peer pressure, or, you know, the pressure coming from your parents dictating and telling you what to do could be something that you're not really equipped to handle very well. Yeah, so low grades could be something absolutely that are overwhelming you, not knowing how to increase or improve those grades so that you can meet those, you know, desired outcomes and get to those goals that you want. Absolutely. What else overwhelms you? Yeah, so fights with friends and family. Yeah, and we'll talk about that a little bit with the peer pressure component as well. Loneliness. Yeah, absolutely. And I love how people are being honest and open here, because, you know, this is something that lots of people I'm sure can relate to, especially during lockdown. You know, lots of people found themselves on their own, you know, without great support systems, without, you know, being able to really open up to anyone because of the situations that we're in. So that's definitely something that's very applicable in this circumstance. Living, yeah, the cost of living, absolutely. I mean, that's something that Jenna and I can definitely relate to. The cost of living in Sydney is not cheap, and it continues to get more and more expensive. The cost of petrol, for example, keeps, you know, skyrocketing, and this is a global problem. So that's definitely something that, you know, overwhelms the majority.
Yeah, I think in Vietnam, the situations with petrol is the same here in Australia. So the price of petrol is increasing a lot. So
yeah.
And so I think a lot of our students in our Vietnam campus, they live in other cities, and then they come to Ho Chi Minh City to study. So the cost of living is definitely one of the things that like overwhelms them a lot.
Yeah, because you got travel to and from, you've got accommodation and all of those other expenses as well. Yeah,
so similar to me when I come to Australia as an international student, worrying about accommodations and everything. So,
yeah. Not getting enough rest. I can definitely relate to that one. That one definitely overwhelms me. My sleep is very minimal, so I feel you. Not getting enough sleep. Yep. Health is definitely something that overwhelms lots of people. COVID-19, absolutely. I mean, this has overwhelmed people for a couple of years now, and it still continues to overwhelm lots and lots of people in different ways. You know, there are some common themes and trends that are happening around the world, but then it also has different impacts on different individuals too. So that's absolutely something that's quite overwhelming. Other students are so cool. I'm glad that you're finding some cool students. That's fantastic. Peer pressure, yes. You know, I'm sure everyone's encountered a degree of peer pressure at some point in their life, whether it was at primary school, high school, or now. Workloads, yeah, absolutely. Relationships can be very overwhelming as well. Maintaining high scores while gaining more practical experiences. Yeah, absolutely. And that's always a very common one. You know, you want to start planning your career, mapping things out, gaining experience so that you can get to those goals. But at the same time, you want your grades to be to the standard, you know, so that you can get there as well. You don't want your GPA to drop and stuff too. So it is about finding that balance, you know, and it's also about then, okay, but what about me time? What about, you know, trying to find a balance in my life and the things that I enjoy outside of work, outside of study? You know, none of us are just about our study and our work life, right? There's so much more to us, and we have to remember that as well. Spending time helping other people. Yeah, I find this one's overwhelming, but I find it's also so rewarding. Right? It's very, very overwhelming to be in demand all the time and for people to always turn to you and need you with their problems and for guidance and support. But at the same token, I absolutely love it because it's my opportunity and avenue to be able to, you know, change lives and support people and help people to get to where they want to be as well. So yeah, that's definitely something that can be a negative, but a positive at the same time. So overwhelming you can be around your weight, gaining weight, you know, for other people might be losing weight too easily. And so again, tying that in with health, with stress, you know, and we'll talk about different things that you can do. Lack of acknowledgement, that time management is key, but let's be honest, it's hard to find and sustain the balance. Absolutely, time management is important and all, but there should be more people saying this out loud so that people should lower the pressure of being alienated by not being on top of work and your life. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And thank you for taking the time to pop that there. Yeah, and unfortunately, this is a universal problem as well. You know, I think in every workplace, you know, there will be some people who really appreciate your contributions and the things that you do, and other people who never will, you know, and it's a sad reality, but it's often, you know, the reality. And sometimes, you know, it's about realizing that you can't change everyone around you. right? That you can change yourself and you can change the impact that you allow other people to have on you, right? So sometimes it's more so about changing your perspective rather than looking for that acknowledgement from external places. Try to get it from within and remember why you're doing things and find that satisfaction from elsewhere so that you don't get disappointed by people either praising you or forgetting to praise you. Friends not doing the work I assign them to do. Group work is, again, a universal problem, and it's no different here at our uni and all the other universities that I've been a part of, you know, as a student or whatever else in the past too. It's a very common problem. And let me say to you again, this is something that can actually be a positive. It's about how you learn from that experience, how you persevere through it, because that's where you get those star examples. And that's where in an interview context, you're able to demonstrate your problem solving skills, your decision making, your collaboration, you know, all of those amazing things and soft skills that employers are looking for, because you're the kind of person that they want, not someone who's just going to sit there and complain. No one's pulling their weight. No one's doing what they're supposed to do. They want to find out. Unfortunately, there are going to be some people that work like you, go and clock off and run away as soon as they can. Right? So it's about how are you going to manage those difficult situations. That's what employers want you to be able to demonstrate. So try to look at that from a different angle and think, okay, well, this is an experience for me to learn from, and I want to be able to use these examples to shine and get to where I want to be. Fantastic. Bad judgment, criticisms about you from friends, relatives, etc. Yeah, all of those external pressures, those judgments. So it's not just about managing people's expectations. It's also about managing how you react to and respond to and internalize the criticism that can come. You know, I don't think there's a single person in the world who is loved by every single person in the world, right? Everybody has some haters for whatever reason. Like even if you look at the most successful, the most famous people, there'll be people that absolutely love them and other people that will, you know, bring them down and talk bad about them. So again, it's about not focusing too much energy on what everybody else thinks of you, just thinking about you, knowing yourself, knowing that your morals are in check, you're doing the right thing, you're doing what's asked of you, you're treating people well, you're making those valuable contributions, and, you know, blocking out that noise. Sometimes if we entertain it too much, it drowns us, it consumes us. We don't want that to happen.
Like I'm so understand like that, like the bad judgment and the criticism about like from like a family. Like in Vietnamese, our relative are so like curious about our life. They just keep asking that, why you look so fat? Well, why are you looking so skinny? Like how you grade for the past year? And I want to like participate in the Bachelor of Communication, and they said to me that my appearance is not like good looking for that job, and I feel like, really, really, you really said to me that?
Yeah,
like
I think
I'm your nephew, I'm your nephew, and you're really like saying to me that you're so ugly for that job.
Yeah, and it hurts. You can't help but get upset by those comments, especially when it comes from family and friends, the people that are the nearest and dearest, are the closest to you. So you expect them to say nice things. You expect them to have your back and support you and your goals and your career and everything else. But unfortunately, it's not always the case, right? Sometimes that doesn't happen. So again, it's about trying to block that out, right? And not dwell on it, because when you dwell on it, if you start to believe what other people think of you, then you will start to have that self-doubt, and you will start to think negatively of yourself, and you'll stand in front of a mirror and think, oh, are they right? Is it true? You know, and you don't want that to be happening. You've got to block it out and say, you know what, that's their opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but that doesn't define me. It doesn't define who I am. And it's not going to stop me from pursuing or chasing the career that I want for myself. I want you to remember that the only person who can stop you from getting to where you want to be is the person that you see in the mirror every day. That's the only person. Okay, it's not going to be a relative, it's not going to be a friend, it's not going to be a stranger or an academic, a teacher, or whatever. It's only you. So always block out that noise, know what to take on board, know what's going to be constructive feedback. You can think about that, you can reflect on it. Everything else, just dismiss it. It's irrelevant.
I still love my future job that I choose.
And I'm sure you're going to be amazing at it and that you're going to thrive in it as well.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome. Anxiety is another one. Mental health is really, really important. We will talk a little bit about mental health today as well, and I will be providing a range of different resources and links that each of you can definitely utilize. At any time when you're feeling anxious, you're feeling stressed, you're feeling depressed, you're feeling anything worse or anything like that, please remember that you are never alone and that there is always avenues for support. Alrighty, I think I've looked at the majority that are there. So well done, everyone. Thank you very much. Let's pop back over here. Okay, so we're going to watch a very brief video on, it's a couple of minutes long, peer pressure, just, to understand what peer pressure is and how it can look, in different scenarios, different ways and stuff like that. But whilst we're doing that, I want you to start thinking of some different peer pressure that you've experienced. And I want you to be able to think of positive peer pressure as well as negative peer pressure. So sometimes, you might have found a group of friends, for example, that are very nerdy, they love studies, they love whatever, they're dedicated, they have particular times throughout the week where you all get together, you're catching up, but you're helping each other, you're working on assignments, you're getting ahead, you're doing things. So that kind of pressure can be productive. It's working in your favor and their favor. That can be a positive peer pressure example. Then there can be the other type that are telling you, don't go to class, don't worry about that assignment. Who cares if you have an exam tomorrow? Let's go out and party. Let's do this, or let's cheat, let's whatever. So there can be very negative peer pressure examples as well. So I want you to think about the positive and negative types of peer pressure that you've experienced. And I want you to think about what you have said or done in those situations. Did you push back? Did you set boundaries? Did you say no? Did you give in? What sort of outcomes did you face? And then I want you to think, of future scenarios. If someone was to ask you something that went against the morals, the values that we were talking about earlier, what would you do? How would you address that situation? How would you say no? How would you get yourself out of it? So think about some of those different things. Feel free to pop things into the chat, sharing the sound for this one too. There we go. And I'll just pop back over here.
Hey, why don't you just try some of this? But like seriously, literally everyone is going to. Come on, just do it. Stop saying nothing will happen to you. Well, then get out of my selfie if you're not gonna. Dad! Any of that seem familiar to you? You've heard this song before, okay? It's peer pressure, and it's the worst. And sometimes when it hits, the spotlight's on you, and you just don't know what to say. That's where me, Team Choices, and my squad at the YMCA come in. We have gathered our top tried and true lines on what to say when the peer pressure's on, but with that, I teach you my go-to peer pressure buster, the no five.
No.
No five. You just say no, and then you high five.
No.
No five. See? Well, you will. Let's do it.
I can't deal.
I just can't deal.
I can't deal.
I
can't deal.
Yay. Girl. Baby. Apple in the pie of my sky, of my Instagram, of my heart. I love you. And I might love you more if you just Maybe someone you care about and who you think cares about you is just asking for too much.
Wanna know what else I love? Food.
Or no five.
No.
All right. No five. Hold up. Works every time. Dude, check out my new ink, dude. It's nice, right? Dude, wait. I dare you to do an ollie 470 off of Mr. Bergstrom's face, dude. Don't be such a wuss, man. Dude. Okay, alright. Stupid dares, they happen. What do you say?
How about I be the first to say how dumb that would be if you were to put that on Instagram? Like, you don't think that's dumb? Just think about it.
Today, I can't, man. Like, today I have this, like, don't be stupid schedule. Like, I wish I could. I want to be stupid today. I want to be. Tomorrow? No?
Sorry? Oh, I gotta meet something and do the... But tell me how many bones you break and I'll get back to you.
Oh my god!
What?
I'll tell you later.
Or, no 5.
Nope.
Alright, yeah, sweet. Wait, I feel good about that. Hey, do you wanna try this thing? It's called 10 chips, I made it myself. Drugs, drinking. So typical. What do you say?
Hello? Oh, hey, Mom. You were outside watching me. I wasn't gonna do that, okay? So, yeah.
I want to remember how stupid you are so I can tell you about it tomorrow.
I'm really good friends with my lover, and we're both cool. We're friends, and friends don't hurt each other.
I'm actually on this new diet. It's called the Awesome Diet. And I only eat and drink things. They make me feel awesome.
No 5.
No.
Okay, yeah. So simple. It's so beautiful. All of these are totally useful phrases to keep in your back pocket. And sometimes the most useful phrase is just a firm no. But the best way to deal with peer pressure, the bad kind, is to avoid it altogether. Hang with people you like and respect who like and respect you, and like doing the non-illegal things that you like doing too. When you find those people, that is cause for a party. I don't know about you, but I would do like a quiet, just like polite.
Oh, I'm ready. What the hell is going on?
Alrighty. Let's just jump back over here. So thinking about that video that we saw, and the link is in the slides, so I'll share that slide with you, all of these slides with you, and you'll be able to watch it over. There's some good messaging in there about different scenarios, the sorts of things that you can do to get yourself out of those situations, and simply saying no. So she turned it into a no 5 instead of a high 5. That in itself is really empowering. So what I thought for this particular section we could do is if people can just pop some comments in the chat, right, and let me know how they're feeling about peer pressure situations. So maybe think of a situation where you had to give into, I don't know, maybe it was a negative situation. Describe the situation and tell us, what did you do? How did you handle that situation? Or if you can't think of a negative and positive situation, I want you to think, okay, if someone was to ask you to do something that went against your values and morals, maybe they've asked you recently, something like, let's cheat, or let's, skip this class, or let's do this, or let's, try this particular drug or something. How did you respond? What did you do? How did you feel? Feel free to share some of your thoughts and have some discussions in the chat.
So guys, please feel free to sharing on your chat box below.
Close friend of mine doesn't like going to school. She told me her philosophy that if you cannot get an A, just get a C. Yeah, and there's the same sort of principle here when people talk about, once they come to university, they think, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to work hard. I'm not going to do anything extra because P's get degrees. I'm just going to try and lower the standard and just try to get the P. So that's the same sort of concept. So how did you handle that? What did you do? So you just followed, yeah? And how do you think you would react now? Any differently, or do you think you would have done the same thing? So you felt like they were taking you away from your goals and your morals and your values, right? Because of that negative influence. And this is why I want you to always go back to who you are, what you stand for. Listen to your body, really listen to your body and think, you know, does this feel right? You know, because usually your gut is telling you when you're not comfortable with something, when a situation feels off, when, you know, you feel like you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, your body's going to usually give you some signals. So I want you to start picking up on that, and I want you to listen to it and act on it. Don't let people be in control. Remember that you are the person in control, you know, and as she said earlier in that video as well, it's not just about trying to handle the situations and knowing how to respond and how to say no, but it's even about taking a greater step and putting yourself in a empowering situation and making sure that you choose your friends wisely to begin with. You know, if those friends don't have similar goals, they don't have similar morals, similar values, similar interests and passions and things, then, you know, perhaps try not to spend too much time with them. Don't make them part of your go-to circle. You know, find people who you can relate to, people who get you, people who like the things that you like, enjoy the things that you enjoy, you know, and are going to be good for you in your future, not people who are going to get you a police record or, you know, something along those lines. Good. So someone's telling me that they've not had to experience such people just yet, which is fantastic. Yeah, so the imposter syndrome, yep. Okay, excellent. Good. Sounds like you're on top of it. Managing it already. Excellent. Feel free to keep sharing some of those scenarios in the chat. We're going to move along here. So the other thing that we want to talk about is managing stress. So it's really, really important that we try to manage all aspects of stress in our life. And in order to do that, you've got to think to the couple of slides that I showed you beforehand, where we had to identify what it is that stresses us. Okay, because if we're not aware of what the triggers are, it's going to be harder to manage stress moving forward. You don't want to wait only until you're stressed to try to handle the situation, manage the situation and get through it. You want to also try to prevent it. Remember, prevention is even better than cure, right? So we want to get to that sort of stage as well. So identify those sources and triggers. Want you also to start thinking about practicing 4A's. So wherever possible, avoid some of those stresses, so some of those triggers. If you know, for example, you're going to get really, really stressed by leaving an assignment to the last minute, you know, the night before and whatever, make sure that you start it as soon as you receive it, you know, and set goals and set little deadlines to help you get to the bigger deadline, right? So that you avoid that situation altogether. Alter things wherever you can, change things, change the scenario, change the script so you're not inundated with stress. Adapt, try and do something different, right? And whatever you can't control, try to accept it and find ways to work through it. Having breaks is really, really important, whether it's at uni, whether it's at work, whether it's, you know, in the middle of an argument, whatever. Sometimes you just need to step away, right? And, you know, just move away from that stressful situation so that you don't say or do something that you're going to regret. Okay, the worst time to talk is in the middle of an argument because you're generally going to say something that you're going to regret. So sometimes just practicing silence, you know, moving away, calming down, doing something to support you in that way to relax is going to work in your favor. So just take some time out wherever possible. And with those breaks, you know, break up your study routine and stuff too. Don't go to, you know, school or uni or whatever for several hours a day and then come home and then start doing it all again straight after dinner. Right? You need to have that balance, and that balance can come from different things. You can meditate, you can focus on some deep breathing, you know, different types of breathing exercises. You can just go and spend some time in nature, go sit amongst the trees, sit in front of an ocean somewhere, right? Read a book, do some exercise, dance, you know, do a sport, go and hit tennis balls and whatever, let out some of that frustration, you know, do some boxing, whatever it might be, whatever works for you. We all have different interests and passions. Try to sleep well, try to sleep earlier, try to get up earlier so that you can be more productive and you can be ready to face whatever that day is going to throw your way. Connect with people. Please don't isolate yourself, especially when you're feeling stressed. Sometimes, yes, you need time alone, but you don't want too much time alone because we're humans. We need that connection, right? And that's why lots of people suffered through lockdown, because we weren't built that way. We weren't developed to live in isolation. We need others. We need to be able to connect with others, be with others, and find enjoyment and fulfillment with others. So do that through social groups, through professional associations, through your circles. You know, find your people who are going to bring out the best of you and spend some time doing some things that you enjoy together. Eat well. We've discovered some people here, you know, that like what matters to them is food, which is fine. You know, just make sure that you're eating the right kind of food so that you get the kind of energy that you need. You know, we talked about petrol prices and cars and everything earlier. Food is our petrol, right? If you're not going to eat properly, you're not going to have the energy to manage your life and your stress and everything else. And really make those lists and prioritize those different tasks. It's going to be so crucial in everything that you do, knowing what to do and when to do it. Make time for hobbies. So not just these things that we talked about in this infographic, but other things that you enjoy. You know, you love writing, make some time to write, even if it's only a couple of pages or whatever a day. You know, if you love technology, you love creating things, try and create some videos and whatever here and there. Create a TikTok, do whatever brings you happiness, and then make sure that you connect and communicate. I've also included here lots of different links to different information, bits of information around stress, how to manage stress, you know, with your studies, how to manage it with your life, with your relationship, with lots of different things. And all of them you can access, you can download, you can utilize the different resources from there. So please make sure that you do so. Now, I want everyone to do this activity here as well. So on screen at the moment, you can see that there is a very quick questionnaire just to see whether or not you are in balance. So I want you to just give yourself a score. So for everything that you answer yes, you give yourself a score. So every yes is 1 point. And then I want you to see which category did you fall into. Did you get 0 to 4, 5 to 8, or 9 to 12? And then you'll be able to see here at the bottom whether or not your life is currently in balance. And feel free to pop your response into the chat. Let us know what your score is. I'll give everyone a couple of moments to do this one. Okay, once you've done that, feel free to share your scores in the chat. If you don't want to share your score, that's completely okay as well. It's just, you know, an activity for you to see whether or not you are in balance, you know, and be honest with yourself as well, you know, because it's not about proving anything to anyone. You don't need to prove something or fake it or pretend that everything is okay. It's absolutely okay for things not to be okay all the time. That's entirely normal. And just a reminder that I will share these slides with you as well. Okay, so we've got someone got a 10, fantastic. Need to work on finding that balance. We've got a 3, so someone is quite balanced, good. Jenna, well done, Jenna. You've got a good balance.
Well, I don't know. I think because now I just focus on work. So I have a bit of time, but then back in my university time, I definitely gonna get higher points because I have to
juggle a lot.
Juggling between work, part-time jobs, and studies, and then extracurricular activities and stuff like that. So.
And that's right. You know, that's very good point that you make there, Jenna, because at different points in your journey, at different times in your life, you will find that things change. Sometimes things will be perfect balance, and in other periods you'll find that everything is out of whack, you know, like it's all over the place, you're inundated, you're struggling to keep your head above water. So that's completely normal as well. So thank you for pointing that out. We've got lots of 9s, 8s and 10s, so lots of people who need to find some of that balance. Alrighty, so let's move along here. So some of the signs that your life might be out of balance is that you might have huge to-do lists, right? You might find every day your to-do list just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You might feel that you're really, really busy, but you feel like you're doing nothing. You feel like you're getting nowhere. So these are some of the other points as well. You might feel really burnt out. You might feel like you are living someone else's schedule. You're not doing what you want to do. You're not doing anything that's bringing you fulfillment or enjoyment. You're feeling lost and empty. Some of the costs of that poor balance is you start to feel tired all the time. Your body is constant fatigue. You don't have energy for anything. Your health is starting to be compromised. You're not feeling great, you know, mentally, physically. You're starting to make poor decisions. You don't have time. You're very time poor. Your relationships are a mess, you know, with your partners, with your friends, with your parents, with everyone. Everyone's complaining they never see you. You never make time for us. You're never available. You know, all of those different things. You can feel anxious, stressed, depressed. All of your mental health starts to get compromised. You also start to physically feel unwell, and you feel like you're losing opportunities. Things are happening, you know, people are doing different things in their life, and you're missing out to an extent. And you also feel like you're not meeting targets and expectations. So the benefits of the balanced life is that it can support that general health and well-being. You can maintain good mental health, which we know is just as important as our physical health. You know, when that gets compromised, it can affect your physical health and your relationships and everything else that you do in your life. You will have greater energy. You'll have increased motivation, improved and strengthened relationships, a better mood. You'll be a nicer person to be around. You won't be snapping at everyone like a crocodile all the time. And you'll have that sense of purpose and fulfillment. So how do we find that healthy balance? This is what I want you to zoom in on post-session. You need to think about, okay, having that right mindset first and foremost, knowing that there's always going to be room for improvement, that I can get to where I want to be. I have to be smart, I have to be strategic, and I have to do it in a staggered way. I can't do everything today. You know, it can't all be done this week. It's all got to happen in the right time. I've got to align everything back to my values. I've got to first know what those values are. I need to set goals. And they need to start with small, achievable goals, things that you can do initially. Then you set new goals. Then you set new goals. And you keep crossing them off and then put new ones so that you're continuously working towards that bigger career goal or those bigger life goals that you have set. Getting organized, doing all of those things we talked about earlier, it's going to be crucial to finding that balance, managing your time effectively, scheduling, prioritizing, delegating, collaborating, things like that. And also, with regards to prioritizing, know what you can get rid of, what you can do now and what you can get rid of. So that's why the plus and minus is there. Setting boundaries, learning when to say no 5, no deal, whatever way you want to say it, it's okay to say no. You don't have to do everything that everybody wants whenever they want, right? Think about yourself and what you can manage. Consider your finances as well, because that's another thing that can compromise that healthy balance. Know what you have to be able to do to be able to live, to make ends meet, to do all of those different things, and then factor everything else in the picture. Minimize any toxins, and even those toxins can be not just negative situations, but negative people. You know, if someone's constantly bringing negative energy and they're affecting you in a very negative way, start to just back off a little bit. You don't have to cut them out entirely from your life, you know, but start to move away so that you can remove yourself from that negativity. Self-care is crucial. This is where you have to find time for you. So that alone time, that time to switch off, Make sure you have time where you're not watching Netflix, you're not on a computer, you're not on your phone or TikTok or anything else. You're just immersed in nature, or doing a hobby, or doing a sport, or writing, or doing something that you thoroughly love, going to the gym, whatever it might be. Self-care is crucial. You can't give or pour anything from an empty cup. So you have to always prioritize yourself so that you can give to others and support everyone else. Reconnect with nature, expand and explore different options, goals, and everything else. Keep finding your purpose. Be present. When you're with your friends, be with your friends. Don't be on your phone at the dinner table, you know, immersed in some TikTok or something else. Same sort of thing with your family. Be present with your family. Talk to them, right? So there's a time for each and every situation and individual. And wherever possible, please try to enjoy your life. That's really, really important. I want you to enjoy your studies. I want you to enjoy your relationships. I want you to enjoy your work. Everything can bring enjoyment. We were going to do a breakout room activity here. Maybe if we don't have time for this one, what I still want you to do post-session is to take the time to schedule. And that's going to be one of the challenges that I have set for you from today. But scheduling is so important. I want you to try to work out a weekly planner or a monthly planner. Okay, some people even like to have daily planners. Whatever works for you is fine. But I want you to try to make it very holistic. I want the planner to encompass all of the things that we talked about for a healthy balance today, not just your studies. When we look at this planner, it's not going to just say class here, study here, another class here, another study here, assignment here, exam here. It needs to show self-care, you know, digital detox, no device at this particular hour for this particular day. You know, it might be a particular hobby or a sport that you're signed up to, or dinner with friends, or a movie, or a family get together, right? You need to bring in all of those aspects of a healthy balance into your schedule. Talk about it with your friends, you know, share ideas, collaborate, but try to put something in place that will work for you. The other thing, this is just as we're about to get to the questions and answers as well, is around career mapping. I've said this earlier in the other sessions, and I'm going to say it again today. I really want you to start planning for your future, exploring for your future, working towards your career goals from today, okay? Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, right? From today. All of you can start doing something to work towards whatever career you want now. So start planning today for tomorrow, for that future, through one of these different things. Okay, so start small. Again, I'm not telling you to go and do everything overnight. This is not about doing too much too soon. This is a staggered approach, an achievable approach for us to forward plan, for us to set achievable goals to find the success that we want at the end of the journey. So for you, your initial goal might be to do some learning and upskilling, you know, to do some short courses or things that might supplement and support whatever career path you're choosing to get into. Or it could be that you spend a lot of time researching your industry, and you can go back to that, that workshop that I presented last time about understanding your industry and get lots of insight as to what to do in that particular space. It might be that you want to start networking. That's going to be your initial goal. Find something, a starting point, and then action that one. So this is everyone's challenge, and everyone's going to accept this challenge. Yes? Yes? Fantastic. So the challenge, we're going to create a schedule. Everyone's going to create a schedule for themselves, not for someone else, for yourself, for your own life. And then I want you to track your progress and see, are you actually sticking to the schedule? There's no point having a schedule and then doing whatever you want. Okay? Sometimes things happen. Sometimes things don't go according to plan. I showed you the visual of the plan and reality. That's okay, as long as it's not like that every day. We have to pull ourselves back into place, hold ourselves to account, and make sure we are tracking our progress. It's like people who join a membership to go to the gym, okay? There's no point having the membership if you're not going to actually go to the gym. You have to hold yourself accountable. You have to motivate yourself to keep going to get the results that you want. This is the same sort of concept. And then the third challenge is career mapping. So you're going to go back to that previous slide, and you're going to think, which of these am I going to set as my initial goal, and action it. Not to set the goal, action it, okay? And have evidence to demonstrate that you have been doing this. because this is what's going to separate you from someone who's successful versus someone who's going to be unsuccessful or struggling to find or get to where you're hoping to be. So what I've added here for you as well is this is a link to our counselling service at the university. A lot of the resources and things that are there that are available, you can download without having to log into anything. So please look at some of the guides, some of the videos and different things that are there. Same sort of thing with student wellbeing and the academic support too. And then I've also included some really good sites that can help you with your mental health, with your general well-being, with managing COVID and all of these other stressful situations and things moving forward. So please visit them, look at the different resources, utilize them. If you do need help, if you do need support or advice, make sure that you do reach out. You are not alone in the process. Alrighty, and just before we go over to the questions, there's one last link that I'm going to pop into the chat, and that's for this one here. I would love to get any feedback from you guys, any testimonials about your experiences, takeaways, what you've learned, what you've enjoyed from today's session. Please feel free to pop them in there for me, and I will read them and take them all on board. And obviously, thank you all in advance as well. I'll pop back over here and happy to answer whatever questions we may have as well. Thanks, everyone.
Oh my God, thank you so much for your sharing. It's like super useful for us, like as a freshman.
You're very welcome. I'm so glad to hear it. And I want you to put all of this into action. I don't just want you guys to listen to it today and think, oh yeah, it was good, and then in an hour or tomorrow or whatever, just forget it and not action any of it, right? We have to apply the learning. That's what's going to support us to have that healthy balance. And that's what's going to pave the way for us to get to those career goals that we each want to achieve and accomplish. So we have to put in that effort. Are there any questions?
So if you have any concerns or questions that you would like to post for our guest speaker, so just please feel free to type in the chat box, or you just unmute and ask her.
Yeah, I'm more than happy for people to speak directly. They're comfortable with that. So yes, you can absolutely unmute and just ask any questions or pop them into the chat, whatever you're comfortable with.
Ms. Eamon, can I ask you that? I always concerns between the I want to find my career occupation, career path, but how do you think between the monetary benefit and my own interest in my job? So what should I choose for my career?
Okay, so that's a very good question, and this is a dilemma that lots of people have, because sometimes they want to pursue a career in the creative industries and they think, oh, but I'm not necessarily going to make a lot of money straight away or anything like that, but it's what I really, really want to do. So they feel torn between the two. All right, so I always say to people, this is an individual choice. It's going to be something that comes back to you. I can't obviously tell everyone one blanket answer and tell you, a bit of advice as to how to go about it. But what I try to say in this instance is to make sure that you really do your research. Right? Learn everything that you can about that particular career, learn about that role, look at the different avenues. Sometimes the different sites will tell you that you can get a typical salary, but there are other ways of earning other salaries and other incomes in that space with that qualifications, where you can innovate, where you can, do different things that haven't been done before. Talk to people that are already working as those kinds of professionals, hear about their experiences, their journeys, how they're managing, how they're making ends meet. Is it fulfilling? Is it rewarding? Is it something that I can do and still be able to handle the, difficult costs of living and stuff like that? And then take all of that on board when you're trying to pursue your goal and make that informed decision.
Oh my God, thank you so much for your sharing.
You're very welcome. Very, very welcome. Min has raised a hand.
Yeah, so I want to ask you something about the pressure. So
Yeah.
you think that the pressure that youngsters receive nowadays is there are much more than the pressures that our parents receive? Or is it just that we are more vulnerable and we're more sensitive to everything? Because I think that in the past, there were no internet or social media. So whatever we do, only we are the only one who knows it. But now with the development of the internet, so everyone knows everything we do. So I think it's the problem about the peer pressure.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. That's a very, very good question. Thank you for asking. So look, it is very difficult, and I don't think that you can compare the two. Like, it's like comparing, you know, like apples with oranges or apples with, you know, bananas and stuff. Like our grandparents and our parents' generation is very different to the current generation that's coming through at the moment. As you said, technology is one of the biggest differences in that space. There wasn't, you know, an abundance of technological use. There wasn't the internet that was, you know, accessible. There was no such thing as TikTok. There was no Snapchat. Now, as the minute everyone opens their mouth or does something or whatever, it's captured. Someone pulls out a phone, someone records. Next minute, it's live, it's out there, it's viral, and you can't track it. You can't get it back. Right? So there's different kinds of challenges. There's different kinds of peer pressure. People now record incidents where people are bullying physically, you know, or verbally or whatever, and putting it out there for public view. Whereas previously, these sorts of things were still happening. It's not that they didn't happen. This stuff happened, even with our parents and our grandparents, but it wasn't accessible to the whole world. Okay, a lot of the time it just happened between that small group, and they had to work through it. So you have different kinds of challenges, and that's why you have to make different kinds of decisions as well. You know, it's not just about choosing your friends and everything wisely. It's about, you know, knowing where to have a presence, you know, what sort of social media platforms you want to be part of. You know, you don't want things to backfire. You don't want to be doing something that can work against you or damage your reputation or make you look like someone who is contributing to some peer pressure by standing around and allowing other people to see you in that negative situation. So it's very, very difficult, very different. You know, I do understand that, you know, lots of people are experiencing things, not just with all of those videos and things going viral, but even through, you know, all of those, what we call those keyboard warriors. You know, sometimes people would never say something to your face, but they're happy to quickly type it and put it as a post or as a comment on Instagram and Facebook and whatever. So you have all of those extra challenges and pressures to deal with. And it's not always a black and white answer or an easy fix. You know, sometimes you do need other people to intervene and to support you so that that bullying, that peer pressure, that whatever doesn't continue. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Miss.
But remember to always speak out about it, you know, never just accept it and never just allow anything to continue. If you are on the receiving end, you are being bullied, you are being peer pressured, you know, you're being hurt in a way that's either physical or emotional or mental or whatever, you know, turn to the right people, reach out to the right services and support services and things like that, so that this behavior stops, because it is never okay.
Yeah, thank you so much, Miss.
You're very welcome. We've got a couple of other hands raised. Is it Kine? Kine? Sorry if I said that wrong.
Okay, Miss, do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go for it.
Okay, so I would like to ask, how can I contact you later? Or if I need anything, I searched counseling service and I see an email. So if I need something, I email them.
So it depends on what service and things that you need. So if you need something that I can help you with, obviously I'll provide my email address. I'm happy to try to respond in that space. But if it's actually counseling service and stuff, it will depend, because you won't necessarily be able to access all of the different types of counselling. It depends on what it is. Like if it's through the university, sometimes you have to be a university student to get that access. But there's other avenues, like I've listed resources through Lifeline, and there's lots of different things online where you can get different types of support, you know, in different places as well. So depending on the nature of the requirement, let me know and I can guide you to the right sort of services or support.
Oh, okay. So
which stage are you currently in?
Me? I'm in Vietnam.
I know, but which stage? Stage 1 or 2, or you're studying EAP? Okay, stage 2 is mean that you can just use your student ID, the Western Sydney Youth Student ID, and you can just contact counseling service, and then you can just talk to them.
Yeah, so sorry, I thought you were a stage 1 student. So if you are a stage 2 student, then you can absolutely, with the links that I've included in the slides, you can go to the counselling services page. There's heaps of resources that you can access for free for the stage 1 students. Any stage 2 students, if you do feel like you need some counselling services, they can absolutely offer that for you. You log in with your details, as Jenna said, and you'll be able to have some sessions with them either via Zoom or whatever works for both of you.
Oh, I only see an email. I don't know if there are some booking.
I put my emails in the chat. So if you have any issues regarding that, just email me and then we can have a chat about it. And I direct you to which service you want to go. Okay?
Yeah. And like the link will there, and you'll definitely be able to organize counseling services if you require them. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
And can I have your email address, Miss?
Yeah, I'll pop that into the chat in a minute as well. Yeah. Is it Kine?
You calling me?
Yeah. Your hand raised. Did you have a question?
Yep. My name is Kind Vincenzo.
Yeah.
Okay. It is about some of the sharing I want to talk. Not much of a question, but like regarding career mapping, I don't think it would that's sufficiently helpful for everyone, even though I know that knowing what path you're gonna choosing is really good for you. But say when you go into a field that you like, even though you prepare a lot, but you haven't like really no handbook in your hand, and you just start going with your path. So the point is that lots of people kind of guide us as a young generation into being an architect, considering of introducing a new, I think, hopefully this new concept, like okay, I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, but I would say, where is it? An archaeologist.
Archaeologist, yeah.
Yes, and I think that instead of looking through a mirror and know what exactly in that room, so that you would decide, is it worth making an effort at knocking the door, or just going to there and not knowing anything. So I think it's like you did try to know something. It's quite unpredictable. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
So I'm just trying to understand like what the question is, but you're talking about like with regards to career mapping, you know, sometimes you can start working towards something, but you're not quite sure where you should be heading and whatever. Yeah, so I think with regards to that, it's all about this phase here of the research. Okay, it's so important to do that research, and by research, I don't just mean, you know, looking at, you know, what it means to be an archaeologist or what it means to be, you know, an architect or whatever else, and how much you can earn and what sort of a typical day would look like. I'm talking about going beyond all of that superficial or surface level information and talking to real archaeologists and talking to architects and getting some of that deeper, more meaningful stories, insights, experiences, trying to get experience that aligns with some of these different goals so that you can test the waters, you can make those informed decisions, and then you can keep going with your map, right? Your map is not set in concrete. Sometimes you start undertaking a path to work towards a particular career goal and you realize, hang on, I've done a bit of this for a particular period of time, but it's not quite what I want to do anymore. There's nothing wrong with that. It's no longer the typical norm that people fulfill one career and see that out until, they've passed away or anything like that. You can chop, you can change, you can explore new things, you can add new qualifications, right? But it's really about making those informed decisions, trialing things, talking to people, having those conversations, gaining experience, upskilling to find your calling and find what's right for you. And I've done this myself. Like, I've pursued different career goals, got different qualifications at different periods of time, and you need to do this mapping so that you have some sort of direction. You're working towards something. If you're not working towards something, you're not going to feel motivated. You're not going to feel inclined to do anything. You're just going to be passing days, but this gives you that drive to strategically work towards a goal. If the goal changes, so be it. It's all part of the learning experience, and it all is part of what shapes you and molds you into the person that you become as well.
I'm totally agree with that. But what I mean by saying that you don't need to have all answers at this point.
That's right.
What I mean is that just get going, then get good, then get smart.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what this whole process is about. You're not going to have all of the answers straight away. Sometimes you go into a particular profession, or you're hoping to pursue a particular profession thinking, oh my God, that's right for me. Like, I'll share an experience with you, for example. When I was younger, at high school, I really, really, really I wanted to be lots of things, but one of the things I really, really wanted to be was a pediatrician. I wanted to be a doctor for children. Right. And it wasn't until I actually went and did some work experience at a hospital around pediatricians, around sick children and everything, that I got to test the waters, and I got to realize, hang on, as much as I love this, it wasn't that fairy tale image that I thought it was. There was so much sadness involved. There was so much loss. There were children who were dying. There were children who weren't going to get better, weren't going to be able to be saved, right? And I realized, hang on, I cared too much. I was coming home from this experience really emotional, really upset, not thinking about anything but these poor children. So that allowed me to start to realize that, hang on, this is not going to be the right fit for me. There are lots of amazing people that can be these amazing, children's doctors, pediatricians out there, but I knew that I wasn't going to be that person. So again, that's where, this whole process gives you some direction for you to start to figure out some of the answers and figure out where your place could potentially be as you move forward. Absolutely. Thank you. I think there was another hand raised. Let me just check. Is it Nha?
Yeah, hi.
How are you?
I remember from in the beginning of this workshop, you said that there were 3 other workshops in the past.
Yes.
And I'm really interested in those topics too, but the thing is I missed all of them, so I'm wondering if I can watch it again somewhere, or will it be held again sometimes in the future?
Yeah, so we did record all of those. Perhaps Jenna or Hannah or someone can jump in here and let students know where they're being housed. Like, how can students record, go back to those recordings? Do you know where they're sitting?
Okay, I will contact them. Thank you.
And I'm sure they'll make a reference to it. I think they're still in the call as well. So if they can just let everybody know, that would be fantastic, because all of these sessions are being recorded. It is a series. There's lots of exciting topics to come, but we do want everyone to go back and catch up on all of those bits of information and insights and things that you've missed in previous events as well.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, please give us some feedback. Please pop some of your comments into that, that link that I shared as well. I'll just pop that in again once more. And I'll pop my email address as promised. There you go. So my email is there. If anybody wanted that one, you can access it and send through an email if you like to. Any other comments, questions before we wrap it up?
So is there any questions that you want to give to our guest speaker?
Can I have a question? Like,
that's cool.
I used to go abroad to study in New Zealand, but then I changed my program to Australia program. So as an international student, I feel like I want to ask about my major that is in marketing, but there is a new, I'm currently in stage 1. So for the next semester, I will into stage 2. So there is a new major coming up is Bachelor of Communication. So I am like currently asking in Australia, like is the opportunity to have an internship for international students. Like I want to have 1 to 2 semester to go abroad to study in Australia or some other countries, but I heard that marketing is so hard because the cultural differences between Vietnam and Australia make it hard to get working experiences as an internship student in Australia. So could you give some advices for international students?
Yeah, so if you were to become a stage 2 student and to pursue some degree with us at Western Sydney University, then there would definitely be capacity for you to find internships and also to undertake work experience. We have work experience that you can do through the university at marketing firms and different organisations and companies that resonate with you. So we can absolutely support you with that process. With regards to the cultural differences and changes and whatever, again, that's a barrier that can exist, but it comes back to the individual as to how you overcome that barrier and how you work through it and how you put yourself out there and you gain experience and you immerse yourself in the culture so that you set yourself up to thrive in a new setting, in a new host nation. So it's definitely not impossible for you to get those kinds of experiences. It just takes you being smart, you networking, you gaining different types of experience, building your resume, building your LinkedIn profile, doing all of those things that we will support you with, which will support you to actually get your foot in the door and then be able to work in that marketing space, wherever that may be. There's heaps and heaps of opportunities in marketing, and there's marketing is one of those broad areas, right? There's so much marketing that happens online, through social media, through so many different platforms now, and being bilingual, having passion, doing all of those extra things can work in your favor. It's a matter of you knowing how to do that. And that's why we come into play. We will support you with that as well.
Could you tell me, if I need support from this, what website I will go into, or
So once you become a stage 2 student, you will have access to more support from us. So the stage 1 students aren't able to get a lot of access through all of the different avenues at the university just yet, because you don't have the student ID, the login details to all of the different portals. That's why I run these customized workshops to support you in the meantime. And then when you become stage 2 students, then you can come along to our careers sites. You can come along to our regular workshops. I run lots of workshops, lots of lectures, lots of topics and events. We have lots of programs. We have programs that will set you up for employability skills, where you get to work with employers. We do a whole range of different things. So you'll have access to all of that. But once you become a stage 2 student, unfortunately, it's not accessible to you just yet as stage 1.
Iman, I can just answer that a little bit. So for students from stage 1, if you have any questions regarding studying in Australia, you know, not only study, living and also working in Australia, you have those questions, you can come to me. I'll be the person who helps you regarding that one. And of course, when you're in stage 2, you can have access to all the service like Iman said. Or if you come to Australia, you have all those kind of access, of course. But if you're in stage 1 and you have those questions wondering regarding studying, living, working in Australia, you can just direct it to me, because I'm currently in Australia and I'm working for the university.
Yeah, and Jenna's a great person to speak to as well, because she's been where you've been. She's been an international student and now she works at the university here as well. So yeah, definitely a great resource accessible to you there as well.
Yeah, and I'm coming to Vietnam next week. So
yes. So you might see her over there.
Yeah, so I'm planning to have some of the session regarding that one. So just email me if you have any questions.
Fantastic.
Like I'm currently waiting for Jenna to go back to Vietnam to go ăn bún đậu mắm tôm. How can we say it in English? Bún đậu mắm tôm.
I think it's the shrimp paste kind of things.
Like green based sauce.
Yeah, so it's a green paste. It's
rice noodles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's honestly,
you know, like
we're so waiting for you. We are so like waiting for you.
Yeah.
Also, and I don't know out in English.
Cells like
now.
No, I mean like seafood.
Yeah.
Like we have a lot of types of seafood in Vietnam, because we are the country that have the border of the seas around.
Yeah.
Australia is surrounded by
the hot sea as well. So we have a lot of types of seafood.
Nice. Yeah, lovely. Yummy.
Also, yeah.
Excellent. Alrighty, so yeah, thank you. Thank you everyone for having me again today. I'm really looking forward to our upcoming events. I'm looking forward to connecting with you every month. New topics, new advice, new activities, new resources and everything coming your way. So please tell your friends as well, you know, encourage your friends to come along, to invest some time in themselves, to learn, to, you know, be able to really take charge of their careers and lead themselves to those successful outcomes that they want. So, you know, we really appreciate any support that you can give us in this space. The more the merrier.
Yeah. So our show is about to close now, but remember to keep like us a few words in the feedback form and share your thought. Okay. So yes, thank you all so much for joining us today, and I hope you have received like how to say that, like more valuable insight from us and our guest speaker, and somehow this will help you to find the healthy balance that the life for you. And thank you and have a great evening. See you guys all in the upcoming talk show.
Excellent. Thanks everyone. Thank you so much. And don't forget the challenges, the 3 challenges. You all have some homework to do. This is important homework. It's all about you and those successful outcomes that we want you to achieve. So go back to the slides. I'll send the slides to everyone. And then please utilize the different links to access additional resources as well. Good luck, everyone. See you soon.
Thank you, Miss. Goodbye.
Bye.
See you soon.
Thank you, Mon. Ủa đi rồi.
Ủa gì má, con lao nhà